In the rhythm of the earth, I feel like ancient spirits dancing, guiding the night. With every wave of the river, I hear your song. You whisper through the trees where we all belong. You're the echo of the ages, a sacred call. You're the return of the ancient ones. It's true, the melody of life, it's all in you. We are love made manifest through and through. Together we rise in every shade and hue. Flowing like the water, nurturing the ground. In the cradle of creation, our hearts are found. You're the mother of dreams, the stars up above. With every breath I take, I feel your love. Go forth, my soul, in peace and harmony. You're the return of the ancient ones. It's true, the melody of life, it's all in you. We are love made manifest through and through. Together we rise in every shade and hue. Embrace the love, let the music flow. In the heart of the world, let your spirit flow.
Biggest, biggest, to you, nah, somewhere, sometime, somehow, someone, somewhere, sometime, somehow, somewhere, not far from here, sometime, and it's drawing near. She sits on the bed with her hands on her head as the last twilight trickles away. And just for a minute I wished I was dead, 'cause I still don't know what to say. What we all want is the same, to make the best of everything and secretly wish for more. Sometimes I smile, man, it feels just like home. And sometimes it feels so far, far away. Oh, mm-hmm. Oh, mm-hmm. Somewhere, sometime, somehow, someone, somewhere, sometime, somehow, someone, somewhere, not far from here, sometime, and it's drawing near. And when it doesn't feel like home, sometimes I smile. It feels just like home. And sometimes it feels so far, far away. And that feeling is what makes you good. And special thanks to all our friends out there giving us the good energy. We are coming to you, brothers, sisters, 8 23, last day of Leo, last day of the devouring lion. And believe it, talk with lots of love and respect for lions. And my all time favorite animal is the lioness, or maybe it's a scorpion. Just kidding. Because she is the Scorpio riding scorpion. Scorpio. The little blonde riding the lioness. The powerful Athena huntress, Sita, the sage. Yes, and give thanks to Mother for all these things. And give thanks that it's not up to me to do what can only be done by the gods. And I've done my best, and with all my power and essence and effort, I didn't know where to turn. This is what I found. And I found it before that first 5 gram ritual. I didn't know what was real, you know. Um, I had to go, as Maria said, and I can't even remember exactly what was guiding me, except for the river. That's all I remember saying back then is like, I've been going to the river, and I felt like the river is telling me, uh, somewhere. I don't have a photographic memory of this right now, but uh, certainly I was told that I needed to go to the ocean and the Atlantic Ocean to, like, approximately the closest I could get to Ireland, to my ancestors in a, natural, physical, real way. And I'm really beginning to have, what, normal people call faith, which, they mean believing something that's not real. No. I'm beginning to believe in the real astral goddess and her wisdom and ability to guide me. She's the one, you know, found out later that was guiding me in this. And like I had to, in the realist, and it doesn't, like, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it was very dramatic. It was very dramatic and moving that I went to a concert and it was at a campground. And somehow this campground was just literally a square cut in this thick forest in very rural Virginia. And then after that, we planned on going to Virginia Beach to the ocean and taking some mushrooms, which it all worked almost too well. But the first night at the concert wasn't. It was like almost a bad experience, but not. But everyone was crowded into this small room, and it was like an acoustic set of Cracker, the band Cracker, and Camper Van Beethoven, Dave Lowry's other band was going to be there too. And the second night was like really mellow, and really nothing. But there, during the second night, we took some mushrooms and just was walking around the grounds for some reason. I just wasn't even listening, paying attention to the music. I told my wife, like, I want to go up this little mountain. And we went up there and there was like a little mine up there. And which reminds me earlier, like Maria said, think about how the word mind is like your mine, MINE, that you know, get gold and diamonds out of your mine, that you're mining. You know, what is your mind? A mine of treasure, or like she said, we don't want to know on the other side. We don't even want to know. And in one of my rituals, looking back, this was 2 months before I did the first ritual, and the third day, it was like something was completely different, and we actually kind of we had like a hotel room like 15 minutes from the campground. This was way out in the fucking country, nowhere. Like the parking lot for the concert was like a gravel. It looked almost like it was I mean, it literally was a campground, a very small. It had some cabins in the up this little mountain, which were cool. And we even kind of arrived late, but somehow I knew it was exactly the perfect time because they were playing the perfect song. And it was like nothing really happened the first 2 days, and the third day was completely magic from beginning to end. And it was strange. Like my wife said, we made no friends in 3 days. We never really talked to anyone except for people from the band. And people coming up to me and talking to me because they thought I was someone else in the band, in a band, which we thought was so funny. Me and my wife would be sitting there watching, and someone would walk by and go, "Man, you guys sounded great," to me. And then finally I was just like, "Yeah, thanks." Instead of trying to be like, I'm not playing. Like, that wasn't me. I was just like, "Thank you. So nice of you." And my wife was like, "I wonder who you look like. You look like someone so close." It's the main dude from the main band, Dave Lowry from Cracker. He waved to me like he knew me, which I've never met him in my entire life. From like 100 feet away, he's waving, and I'm going, "Is he doing that to me?" And I wave back, and he like shook his head like, "Hey." And my wife's like, "That's so crazy that someone think that." I mean, like, she's like, "How many people here think you're someone else?" It's funny. I said I could get really drunk and start doing some wild shit. People would think it was him. And later that night, I am not kidding you, when Cracker came on stage, until that point, I had never seen anything so supernatural. People would be like, "There's just," I was an eyewitness to it. The the songs were so authentic, and it was weird. Like I said, we had no connection to anyone. Soon as the band went on, it was like a supernatural vibration hit the crowd, and all of a sudden I just started looking at everyone started looking at each other, and my friend who had killed himself, almost 1 year to the day, uh Looks like, when he was young, looks like Dave Lowry a little bit. And as everything was building, and this was like 4 or 5 hours after we had taken the mushrooms. So scientifically, it wasn't even the mushrooms doing this. You know why? The mushroom is reflecting the true self, which is reflecting the thing that's just beyond all of us that no one knows what it is, because life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. I hear you call my name, and it feels like home. When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm on my knees. I wanna take you there. In the midnight hour, I can feel your power. Just like a prayer. I wanna take, me and Maria wanna take you there. And dude, I am, to everyone who's listening, serious, I'm figuring out how magical being one with someone can be, being one with two people can be, being one with three people can be. People I can't really, I'm going to try, someday to describe just how it can be. It's wild. And like Maria saying, there's no turning back because everything's a continuum anyway. Just march on. When with like the soldier that Joseph met, march out, brave and with honor, fight to the death because you now know that death is a moment and life is a flicker in time, and the feeling of never dishonoring, never giving in, that feeling is bliss. That feeling is the balance of the avatar and the true self. Let's let Maria break it down. Your purpose is to enjoy your true self. To break it down simpler, your purpose is to enjoy what? Live in joy. And like, I can't. I need this. I need that. That's where we must begin. You're not here to enjoy them yet. Maybe. You're here, though, if you're one of our people. This is what we believe is salvation. I exist as the avatar to provide the brightest light in, it's like to give the biggest, deepest respect to the true self through my authentic enjoyment of him. Or if you're a woman, her. And it's like, dude, how do you get there? How do you get there? This whole podcast is about that. My whole life is about that. Like, everyone around me, like, bullshit. You didn't find anything. You're not happier than us. Except I know that I am, you know, and I know that they don't have any data to back up their assumption about how everyone's miserable, everyone's broken, everyone's unsatisfied, right? That's the word I was looking for. Why? I mean, simply, uh-huh. And check this out. We believe that because we believe unconsciously every action taken by the avatar or the true self is taken with the intent and motivation for its own happiness. It's like ultimate selfishness. It's selfishness to such an extreme that you may want to selfishly sacrifice yourself for someone you love. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You may be so selfish that you're like, I feel so good around this person. I want to become one with them. What? And someone might say, you selfish motherfucker. All you want to do is feel good. And you should say back, my joy is the best thing for the world and for everyone else around me. How can I be of value to people around me? Vibration, vibrationally. And it doesn't mean you suck if you're sick or depressed. You know, that doesn't mean that your vibration sucks. That means you're taking on a lot of someone else's vibration or the world's vibe. There's a million variables. That's why Maria had to teach me to live like I live. I'm not kidding. The last time I hung out with people and smoked with people and talked with people I don't really know, I am not kidding. I was sick for 3 days. I was thinking crazy shit, and I knew I was picking it up from the people I was with, that it lasted. And Maria was like, I'm not going to be mean and say, I told you so, but I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back or anything, but this is why. Some people are healers automatically. In other words, their selfish joy is to help people. And we know for a fact that our emotions, our vibrations, going to have to go down to meet theirs. Because people in our community are healers. They rarely, rarely need help. I've seen, and I talk to Maria all the time, like what's going on in our neighborhood, what's going on with our neighbors, our friends, And I mean, the ultimate thing for the artist is stability, to be able to work continuously like a flowing river without any dams or any, you know, like she said, we don't mind people on the river. We don't mind boats on the river, but don't try to stop the fucking flow. We want you to enjoy the river, but we don't want you to harm the vibration, harm the flow. Why? Because the flow is what's important. Why is the river flowing? Because of the laws of nature. So what should we flow along with? The laws of nature. And that's another thing that this whole podcast is about. It's our way of personalizing and humanizing the laws of nature. That's what a myth usually, that's part of what a myth is. Because our ancestors are very creative and smart. They're like, let's tell the fucking story of lightning, water, evaporation, continuing cycle, filtering, and, all of it. Let's tell it in a very creative story in people. Say, like, we'll call lightning Thor, or thunder. Sorry. Right? You follow me? And believe me, I give real thanks for the people who are listening, who are following me. We love your energy, we feel you, and we love you. Really, we truly. And surely at the end of this teaching, we will do a real healing for sure. We will speak forth and manipulate the laws of nature. Do you know that is what magic is? Magic is not mind control and hurting others. Could be an effect of magic, black magic or evil magic. But magic utilizes real energy. What's the most powerful energy in your world? Let's start with that. Your true self is. If you would keep remembering, recovering, and returning and rewinding past your birth back to Venus, okay? And like Maria said, come on with me. Let's go back to before you became a man. I straight up, I want people to know, I did not conceive ever what I seen and experienced until after I was told what it was. I didn't. I was living it and the observer and had no idea what I was seeing. And I had to have blue-eyed mama, little blondie mama, tell me right to my face, I've known you from before you became a man. Before you became a man. And what you seen was the very moment you became a man. I was there because I was involved with you becoming a man. Right? And let me tell you, I don't think I've ever described exactly what I seen. There was a body. It looked like almost like Superman. You know what I mean? Like so like perfect, clean cut. Like my hair is almost black. It's really dark brown. And I had like thick but like short hair. And I was completely naked. And this body was in like what looked like a clear glass chamber with a bunch of fucking technology going on around it. Right? I'm not kidding. I was seeing this and I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what is this? Like a Star Trek movie? It looked like something out of Star Trek. I'm like, what? Why am I seeing this shit? No lie. As quick as I said that, I was in the body in that little chamber and felt fucking wonderful. From even on the astral plane where you have no sickness and shit. I mean, I don't know what to, like Maria said, dude, how excited were you? You were just becoming a person. I mean, I was like ecstatic. I wasn't scared either at all. And she was like, because of me, because I told you not to be scared. And she said, you understand you were like a gnome, an elf, fucking before you became a man. You're whatever you want to be in your imagination. She said, let me tell you, you're one hell of a fucking artist. Might not be the best at any of them, but you do a lot of them good. I'm like, huh? And she's like, I mean, writing, music, and other things, photography. cinema. I'm like, what? Yeah, where we come from, we're very, very big into movies, but they're a lot different than now. Like Maria said, a good movie in our world is like 5 or 6 hours long. Just one, like she said, there might be a part two, part three. But once you have time and you don't have to get up for work and shit, you want to know the real story. You don't want the Hollywood version. You want the real fucking shit. Like I'm giving you tonight because Maria's helping me see it as I tell you. And straight up, I was all of a sudden in that body. And for a second, I was completely, my mind now. And I was like, I feel great. I look great. I looked at my arms and my body. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I thought in my mind, for real, I thought in my mind, oh my God, finally, after all these years, like, I'm being healed. This is how I didn't understand what was happening. And that's why I laugh at people who are like, Joe, it's all you. Dude, shut up. Shut up. Your opinion don't matter. If it was all me, believe me, I would be the first person saying that, not you. You hear like 3 or 4 minutes of the data and you're like, no, there ain't no goddess. And you're like, and I always ask people, well, where do you think people go when they die? I don't know, but nobody important would ever be talking to you because, you can't be any better than me. Everything's a fucking race or something, and I was, tripping off the information, tell you the truth. And look, 14 years later, I'm still talking about still doing a ritual. But I go back to these very crucial things for the individual listening so you can get some just data ideas in your mind of, hey, maybe there's a more rational explanation to reality than what we're being told by every spiritual teacher. Like this whole thing of like, we're all one and you die and you just go melt back in and then become someone else. No, absolutely not. That's Crowleyanity. That's theosophy. I feel Maria's hatred for these people. Like she said, as much as you hate that Ronald McDonald fucker, is as much as I hate blah blah Fatsky, stupid Crowley, and all the rest of them. The OTO, the Golden Dawn. Like she said, Joe, in your words, like she said, didn't you say the worst word is cunt? They're cunts. She said, you know why I said that? Because they're not for the real people, for the average person. They're elitists, they're pricks, they're fucking rich and don't work for it. She's like, that's not and never will be us. It is and I'll get back to my creation as a human, because like Maria said, good to put this alien bullshit to rest and know that you're, extraterrestrial, and that is going to be defined by your very enemies. Well, before you became human, you were an extraterrestrial. You didn't live in the physical plane. That's all it means. And if there's other people, I'm glad people are like, oh, you just don't want it to be. I don't have any information. Every time you tell me to trust somebody, they're not trustworthy. And I'm not going to take someone's opinion for fucking, and believe me, I know exactly where the aliens thing is going. Well, in the Bible, they call them angels. In the Bible, they call them demons and angels. Fuck you. I mean, let me just say specifically, fuck you to the person who makes that assumption that these things exist and acts upon information that you don't have. I was face to face with another being in that girl. No, no, if a gun was to my head and they said, was that, if you, we know the truth. And if you get this wrong, we're going to shoot you in the head. Was that Kristen that grabbed a knife and tried to stab you in the neck? I would say no. I don't believe it is, even if I have to die. It's hot or cold, it's yes or no. No, I don't believe it was. I absolutely have the data proof that it wasn't her. I have the data proof. She absolutely knew things about me that she absolutely did not know. Personal things that no one would even care to know about a 16-year-old kid. You know, she was saying shit. I was 29 years old or 30 years old, and she was saying shit from my personal life from 16 years old, and she projected in my mind a picture of the person, a picture that I had. Like no one's going to tell me the truth about my own truth. This is, people like MAGA, disgusting Republicans who lick the boots of their slave masters. They get all mad about people saying like my truth. Oh, God's the only true. Yeah, your nightmare human sacrifice, killing his own son. God's the only truth, right? But we all know that we all live in our own world inside our head, and we all have our own truth until it's disproven, right? And the best way to get to your truth is to use logic, right? And it's so simple to get. I've been shown over and over. Every time I'm deceived, it's because I lack data. It's not because I'm dumb. It's not because I can't analyze. It's because I didn't have that information. As soon as I had that information, I'm like, oh, now this makes sense. Just like the story I've been telling about initiating all these people and just unconsciously still saying, can you tell me someone I knew before I came here? And she's like, Joe, how many fucking people I got to tell you? I'm like, I don't know why I'm saying that. And she's like, well, actually, I do. And her saying to me, because she's so kind, I'm saving the best for last. I'm saving the best for last. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. And then she finally confirmed and said, hey, listen, the best has come. There's no, this is it, Jeff. This is it. We turn the corner, and check this out. People think, man, you're fucking nuts. Hey, one way or another, I'm going to make it to Africa. People, why you want to go to Africa? Black people hate white people. Not all black people hate white people. Just like I'm white, and my magic amour is a brown Vietnamese. She don't hate all of anyone. We don't hate all of any race. And I've said over and over in the data analysis, I would be lying to you if I didn't say I thought that European white people, in general, are the evilest race because of what we did to our own people in the name of someone else's religion. I mean, it's just never been rivaled. And people are like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about Christians putting to death the heretics for 2,000 years. Like, oh no, we stopped that in the late 1800s. Exactly. So you did it for, you know, 1,600 years. And Christians like, we're the martyrs. You're the martyrs. That's why the whole Roman Empire was backing you, murdering and killing throughout the fucking Europe. Right? Because you're the martyrs. Just like you're the Republican martyrs today, right? Biggest pussies under the earth. The only fucking weaker, dorkier, stupider people in America are the woke right. The woke right are 10 times worse than the woke left. Well, actually, they meet right in the middle on genocide. They both agree on genocide. You know? I mean, I never thought America would go down in that big of a fake revolution. All right? You know what we got to get? You know what? You know how we take America back? And how we make America great again? Occupy the Democrats. Blame the Democrats. You divide and conquer. I mean, I'm tired of getting mad because they're going to get, I believe. Check it out. What I seen, and I'll get back to my creation. What I seen, and I believe, and I always forgot to mention this. Check this out. Wow, I'm so happy I remember this. So I had the dream about Maria being a flight attendant. And then 11 years later, her saying, man, read my name tag. That's my magic name. Right? So I was flying to my friend's house, who was a very supernatural Christian. I really like him till this day. I have lost contact with him, but I hope that I wish him well. I mean, I'm not saying every Christian person's bad. Not at all. I used to be one. It's a very strong magic. And we have to speak very strongly against it because it's very serious. It was the cause of millions, of hundreds of millions of people suffering. And if you don't care, that's where we draw the line with people. Like, you don't care about your ancestors, you don't care about yourself, you can't care about me. Get the fuck out of here forever. Get away from us. Stay away from us. That's what we would really define as lukewarm. Lukewarm is, I don't feel the ground crying out. And it's weird. Everything's coming together in my mind. At that concert I was talking about, where my friend, I'll go back to all these things. But my friend, back to the concert in Virginia, I just want to tell you how supernatural was. It just the whole cycle here kicked me back to it. And the ancestors, right? I swear this was one of the this was like a groundbreaking, life-changing thing that happened to me because, and until this point, my best friend since first grade, who had shot himself in the head and killed himself, it had now been 1 year in like 2 weeks, and I felt like he was alive, but I had no dreams or no contact with him. You know what I mean? I think I was still just numb from the whole thing. And this is no, I swear to God, I would curse my own fucking soul if I dared lie about this. And someone might say it's not that incredible. To me, I swear this was one of the most magical things. And I hope I don't cry. I don't want to cry but it was, I couldn't help myself I don't think I cried, but I mean, I had never in my life been so moved. I was standing there, and all of a sudden a man's voice spoke to me and just said, you're connected to the land. And I thought about how people ground to the land, like, barefoot. I was like, yeah, right. And it was like, it's alive, alive with the memories of the people who died here fighting for their lives or breathing their last breath. Young men in wars, in the Revolutionary War, in the Civil War, and starving to death and fighting robbers and thieves and murderers and death everywhere. All of a sudden, I just realized, dude, we're standing. The whole, this whole Virginia is just one fucking blood drenched war. It's just a land where white people fucking murdered and tortured and did horrible things to each other en masse. And this voice said to me, I know who you are. I'm one of your ancestors. Okay? This was almost too much for me to handle at first because you would think, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. But right after I heard this, and this was like 4 hours after I took the mushrooms, they felt like they had completely worn off. It was just like a whole different fucking world was going on now. That the band had taken us to this meditation place. And man, I don't want to cry, but all of a sudden I realized my friend who died is the reason why this ancestor of mine is coming to me. He said, I know who you are. And I realized because you have talked to Scotty, my friend that died. For real, I had that thought. I was like, hold it, that makes sense, that that there's not just ghost out in the middle of a campground. Because I didn't know anything about astral plane. I had no experience with any of that I knew of. And I stood there. This is one of the craziest things that ever happened to me. All of a sudden, I realized, like, dude, the reason why Dave Lowry looks like Scotty to me, because they're both very red beards, blonde, red hair. And it was weird. It's like I looked back and he looked exactly like Scotty to me. And they started singing the song, Another Song About the Rain. And it was weird. It was like the first time I connected with him since he died. And I was like, Scotty, I don't even know how it's possible, but you're here. You're here somehow, and I felt better all of a sudden. But it was still sad. It was like the end of the sadness or something of everything that happened, his death and everything. This is no lie. Right when I started like really seeing Dave Lowry looking like Scotty, my wife said to me, Dave reminds me of Scott. Like she just whispered it in the loud music. And I was like, I know, like me and you are telepathically connecting. Where did the gods? I like took my wife, she was on the side of me. But after that, I like put her in front of me, like holding her, which put her side by side with this guy we didn't know. Just somebody watching the concert. And like I said, like this was all done by Maria, I guess, or Lou or somebody. But like I said, literally, we tried to kind of talk to people and we never actually made friends with anybody or really talked to anybody. And we were there for 3 days. Most people were camping there and going to the concert. We were in a hotel. I mean, that might be one reason why we weren't there 24 hours a day, but it just seemed weird because it's pretty small. It might be like 300, 400 people at the most. And so during the song, I've never felt anything so supernatural like the music that like they weren't playing the music anymore. That something had taken over the concert completely just in a few minutes. And when I moved my wife in front of her, I don't know what made me start to look at her. Like she became like in my view of the concert. And like I said, me and her started telepathically communicating like Scotty's here. Like somehow, he's dead, but it's enabling him. Or it's us. Scotty's here. And she was telepathically saying to me, it's not that Dave looks like Scotty. Scotty's here with us. This is no lie. When I heard her say that in my head, her and the dude, I seen a tear start to come out of her eye. And for some reason, like I was kind of to her right in between her and the dude. And it was like weird. It was like something moved my eyes. And I seen the dude, a total stranger, right next to her. A tear come out of his eye exactly the same time. And both of them exactly at the same time wiped a tear and it just like sent everything into like I was like that was digital. That I mean her and this stranger did this. I am swear to the gods exactly at the same time. My wife even said to me in between the next song, we kind of walked away from the crowd because I had tears in my eyes too. And my wife said to me, "Did you see me and that guy wipe a tear at the exact same time?" And it was crazy, man. We were standing in just this field that was surrounded by like 100-foot trees. I mean, just in this forest. And it was like, it was weird. It was like so sad. But at the same time, I felt like the voice that told me people died here were saying to me, like, stop crying. We're not sad anymore. We're happy you're here. And like, it was like, for me, like one of the very first really supernatural things because The next like 3 or 4 songs, like the next song was like a 10-minute song with a really long guitar solo. And man, I started just having like spirits, people that, were from that area that died there that just telling me their stories, telling me their names. I'm telling my wife later in the hotel room, like, either I'm fucking crazy or I mean, like, I met, like, I said, we never had talked to anyone here at this concert. I go, I'm not kidding. I talked to like 20 fucking invisible people that were so happy that this music was going on, that people were out here, that a party was going on, that they weren't crying, they were fucking dancing. They're like, holy fuck, I died in the Civil War. Wish we had electricity and wish we had a party this big, all this beer and, which I don't drink. But I don't blame people for drinking. It's just bad for you. You shouldn't do it because it's bad for you. Sh- Like once in a while, every once in a while, I'll eat something stupid like a Snickers bar or some candy bar. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as alcohol is just, it's sugar actually. It's fermented sugar. And I mean, you're only going to get sugar from sugar. But I would just, who goes around condemning everyone for not being perfect when you're not? I'm not. I'm the first person to tell you. I just told you I eat Snicker bars sometimes. And when I get real sick, that's when I really start, being smart and not putting anything in my body. You know why? Maria says to me, you know why you shouldn't put anything bad in your body? Because it's 2025 and you don't have to. And for thousands or not hundreds of thousands of years, people in the real world and Matrix fucking dying for food, eating anything that will just put something in their stomach that's bad. No, not even a thought of is it good or bad. I'm starving. She's like, you have no idea, Joseph, how before refrigeration and electricity and shit, how much food was used as a weapon against people. She's like, I do remember. I remember, people talking about being afraid of starving to death. And okay, so that was in June. So in August, I did my first 5 gram ritual, right? And like I said, we'll go back to um, the moment I became a man. Like Maria said, let's go very slowly because it's very important. First of all, the technology, right? I was witnessing like a mannequin looking body. I didn't even think it was real. I was like, oh, that's a robot. Like from a first glance, I thought it was a real person, like in this little glass chamber, like you would see in like Star Trek or some, kind of beam me up shit, but the body was already in there, just standing there completely still. And I am, this is my second ritual. I'm just fascinated of like, what am I seeing? Like this looks like the future. And I see it. I'm like, damn, look at that dude. What's that dude doing? Then, it took me a minute to be like, what? Hold it. Is that a robot? Like that dude's not alive, right? And that was me. That was my body. I didn't even recognize myself. And like Maria said, because you don't look like you until your imagination's in your body. Like she said, we're going to get rid of all the words, and start like really living like we do on Venus. Like, what are we? We are imagination. What is that? Thought and memory and action. Thought and memory and action. Why you say that? Are we not our memory? Yeah, our true self isn't. Our true self is just fucking energy. It has no parents, no beginning, no end. But like Maria said, in a sense, who cares now? Because now you are who you are. Let's get with it. Let's deal with this. There's no use dealing with, well, okay, we're all energy. Well, so what? So what? It's not determining anything. No one else cares. No one's stopping genocide because we're all energy, right? We're all one. Where? When? Uh, us three, you mean? Us three are one? No, I mean we're all energy. Okay, well, but what does that mean? It means we should all care about each other. No, energy is impersonal. It doesn't care. And that's exactly scientifically what you see is motherfuckers don't care. That's the St. Louis way of saying it. Motherfuckers don't care. Some people do, and we take note, don't we, mother? And as I was tripping, and then, so I am concentrating on this chamber with this man. And then all of a sudden I look out. I like look to my, I'm just looking around, where am I? Because I just popped up here after taking the mushrooms. I'm like seeing all this geometry and stuff, cool shit. And just pop up. I'm in this futuristic place. And I look out and I'm like, holy shit, what is this? Because it was like a little theater, like a little stage and like maybe 10 seats, you know, with 10, 12 behind that, 12 behind that. It's like a tiny little bitty theater, like a medical theater, you might almost say, right? And when I seen there was like, I now know 12, but when I seen these people there, it so freaked me out that it all of a sudden, it was like I lost, it was like click. And and it took me a minute to figure this out. I was in the body of the dude I seen in the chamber, but I was on the stage in front of everybody and they were all standing up. They weren't at their seats. They were like crowded around the front of the stage, which was about, 3 foot high or something. And I'm completely naked. And like I wanted to like cover myself, but it wasn't in me. It just literally wasn't in. Like I was trying to be my rational mind right now, but I was actually living the memory of this. And I was actually the person in it. And I gave no thought that my dick was hanging out. It just never even occurred to me that it mattered. What I was tripping off, I was like a newborn baby. I was like, who are these people? And it's hard to describe, like happy, pure, innocent, uh, you know, vibrant. I was very alive. I was very interested. And I started looking at each one of their faces and noticing that not all of them looked like me, that there was people there from different races, like Asians and black people and, all different kinds of people. And then there was your regular white people, you know? And when I got to Maria, it was like everything stopped. It was like me and her like just fell into each other, and she was like, "It's okay, you know. It's me. I'm the one that brought you here. You remember?" And I was like, I could never forget you. Like I did forget for a second, but I remember now. For real, I did. Because as soon as I looked, I was looking at each face, but as soon as I got to hers, I just stopped and I was like, hold it, and just boom, we started telepathically communicating. And she was being so sweet and nice to me. Like, it's okay, just relax. You're a man now. I told you. She's like, you'll start to remember. I'm the one that was communicating with you. I was the one that was coming to your world. And you were the one teaching me. And now I'm going to do you the favor. I'm going to teach you how to be in this world. And I was excited. And like other people were talking, but me and her kept telepathically communicating. And I'm not kidding, like a little baby to his mother. I was like, "You're so beautiful. You're so pretty. Your eyes, your nose, your lips." For real, like a baby. And all of a sudden I snapped out of it because the Odin guy was like the gray and black beard with the brown Obi-Wan Kenobi like monk robe hood, but his hood wasn't, it was all the way back, like I could see his face. And he had like long black hair, gray and black, in a ponytail, and the ponytail was tucked behind his neck, going, in the rope, so you couldn't see his hair. You could just see that all his hair was like pulled back. And I just immediately got such a peaceful vibe from his face, such a like wonderful, like I loved all that. I loved that his hair was behind. I loved that his face was. It was something just. It's like a kid when you see your favorite baseball player or something. You know what I mean? Like that. Like a kid looking up to. For real, it was somehow it was in my head. That this is what the hero looks like. And he said to me, he said, "Greetings. Ask me anything you want to know." And when no was coming, I told you I was real vibrant like kid. And he kind of spoke slow, like asked me anything. And when no was just coming off his lips, I was already saying, "Who am I? Who am I? I want to know who I am." I was like part machine elf still, like talking fast, and he smiled. I'll never forget how I thought, wow, he thought that was funny. I was happy with that. And crazy enough, he said to me, "You are Leo." And that crazily did something to the entire atmosphere. Well, actually, he said, "You're Leo." And I went, I said something funny like, "Leo? Why do you say I'm Leo?" And they all started laughing really hard. And in the real memory, I looked at Maria because just like a baby looking for its mother, I looked at her and telepathically our minds met. And I said, "Why are they laughing? Are they laughing at me?" And she said, "No, they're laughing because Leo means lion. And they're laughing because I call you my little lion." So when you said, "Who am I?" They said, like, you're Maria's little lion. This is, 12 and a half months before I found out she was Maria. She was just the goddess. I didn't even know, this was the first time I ever seen her was in the magic marriage ceremony, but this was, the second time I ever seen her face ever, and this is a memory. And I'm like, dude, it took me like 7 or 8 months from now to know this was a memory. I just thought I was seeing wild ass shit that was supposed to teach me. I had no idea. Like Maria was like, Joe, the whole world's an illusion. What you were seeing in the rituals were actually literally real. Because that's what happened back on Venus. These are memories. She said, do you see the juxtaposition? The illusion versus the real, the reality, what actually happened with witnesses. See, the problem with this world, all the witnesses are AI or people that hate you or other victims like you, and it ends up just being a game. So even on the other side, even a lot of people who are really here are like, hey, shut up, who cares? It was a game, right? So your big, important emotional thing, 1,000 years from now is somebody saying, hey, dude, shut up. That was a game. Like Maria said, we sign contracts. We sign contracts, vowing to not hold people accountable to what happens in an illusionary game. And check this out, this is no lie. So they're laughing. And Odin seen my face and knew I didn't really, understand. He said, we called you Leo because this is when you were destined to become a man. And we have one true system of organizing people. It's by their birth, and the time of their birth, it's called astrology. And I looked at Maria because, coming as a machine elf from another world, I didn't know what astrology was. There's no stars in heaven. This is something completely new, and this is how nature is one of the reasons why you want to come into the physical world to see the stars and shit. So I look at Maria and she says to me, telepathically, she says to me, the whole reason I know you is because this system of nature is put into 12 symbolic people. She's like, I am one of those people. And the reason why you're standing here right now is because your vibrational readout reads to me as the goddess of beauty and love. That whole vibration coming from the stars, from the true self, which is the true self, is higher than the stars. And she said, you understand what I'm saying? I go, my true self thinks you're beautiful. And she went, exactly. I didn't want to say it. And dude, this was in the memory on for like 5 minutes. They were talking about astrology to me, but me and her were telepathically communicating. And she was saying, I'm going to be your mother, and I was like a machine elf wisecracker. I just was like, not, I wasn't saying bad things, but I just couldn't shut up of like how beautiful she was. I was saying crazy shit. Like every time you blink your eyes, stars come out and your breath is like roses and, and she was laughing going, are you sure? You sure you think that? I'm going, no, you just said it. You're the goddess of beauty to me. And she's like, because I'm your ancestor. Right there. She said to me, see, everyone born on Venus has an ancestor going back to the real Earth, to the first time Earth. She's like, I am the goddess of beauty for you because I lived on the first time Earth. And I said, what's the first time Earth? And she said, the place where we all lived that was completely destroyed. And she said, that's why I'm here, and that's why these other people are here. That's where it was all decided, the future of man, and we've been here safe ever. She's like, turn around. And I looked back at the chamber again, and I went, oh my God, I'm that guy. And she said, yep, and you'll always be that guy. She was like, Joe, look at your hands. And I did. And she said, do you want your fingernails shorter? I said, I don't know. And she said, just think it. And I did. And I looked back and they were shorter. She said, the body doesn't have to eat or drink. And whatever you imagine, it will accommodate. You can look different if you want. She's like, most people take a pretty natural look to their own natural vibration, but you can alter it with your imagination. People do. She said it's very common. I was sitting there tripping out in my real mind. I'm living this, forgetting everything, and then also separating from it a little bit and being the observer and going like, what the fuck is this? Who the fuck are, like, how is this happening in my mind? You know, this, and uh, then it went back to Odin for real. And, uh, again, everyone was laughing, almost like celebrating. And like it all quieted down. And he said, and it all quieted down. And with his mouth, he goes, listen, Leo, Mr. Leo. He was like joking with me and shit. And I now know this is Lou, you know. And Addie, the avatar. And he said to me, one more time, ask me anything you want. And as quick as no came off his fucking mouth, I was like, who am I? I couldn't. And they all cracked up laughing like it was a comedy show joke. And dude, I have no idea what it means to be a Leo. You read any Leo definitions, like they're self-centered, they're the sun, so they're the life giving to everyone around them. They're constantly performing and being the light, and the bad vibration of the Leos. It's all about him, and see, I know nothing of this, and all I want to know is who am I? Like. Even Maria said to me before I knew, she was like, yeah, it's pretty Leo of you to keep saying, who am I? Like, yeah, we understand you want to know about yourself the most. Okay, we've got that. I mean, she was totally joking with me, like, listen, buddy, there's a little more to life than you. Like me, you can ask me about me. And like she said, that was the beginning of the journey. But anyway, I said, who am I again? And this time, me and him telepathically started communicating. And he said, I'm your father, which means I'm your friend till the very end. I already know you because I know her and I love her. And he said to me, you're the most, he said, you're the luckiest man on Venus right now. This moment, you are the lottery winner, 1,000,000,001. And he said, do you know why? I went, no, I don't know. And he said, the finest, most courageous, strongest woman I've ever known in my entire life is your mother. And I immediately looked at Maria and I was like, you're my mother. You just said it. She was like, that's right. I'm your mother. You're going home with me. You're coming home to my house. And I was so happy, like a kid who got the perfect teacher, the perfect kindergarten teacher or something. I'm not kidding. I was so happy. I was like, yes, 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 that's so great. I got the late. It's like kids. It's like I knew, hey, if I become a man, I'm going to be giving like a parent or a teacher or something, and you must think about it a lot, right? Um, yeah, I heard Michael Talbot talking about the holographic universe, and this I just want to add this in there that this is how it all makes sense, right? And like Maria said, this is the whole reason, Joe. I've always told you why we all call it a hologram, not the simulation. Because in a hologram, the smallest fragment of the hologram contains the entire picture and the entire world. So check this out. This is no lie. The reason why you have a true self and you do have power and potential that you have not locked into is the fact. And the reason why you can play out every possibility is you have the Akashic records, the entire universe of information in your mind already, in your true self already. You That's what eternity means. You have the whole thing in the tiny thing. The tiniest thing contains the whole entire story. And that's like Maria said, like I'm not fucking around when I say remember, recover, return. Like you're in this hologram, right? If you start to remember, hold on. There's no reason to panic. I got the entire world in my hands, in my mind. You do. You're the one doing it. Maria's taught me from the very beginning, don't blame anyone else, Joe. You're the one doing it to you. You're the one that planned it. You're the one executing it. You're the one fulfilling it. So just calm down and relax and just enjoy. It's hard while people are burning. Like she said, we'll go comfort them when we're recharged. We'll go to them and let them know it's not real. Don't worry about it. Real life will continue on. As soon as you click out of the Matrix nightmare, right? And like we said, for a 555 word of healing. And we just want to kind of 555 end on what it's going to be like to become one. And let this river of healing water flow and repair your matrix, the body, your blood, your veins, your arteries. For real, we speak forth creative words of healing. He, all. Ing is he, all. So we call upon Lucifer himself, Big Lou, wherever he's at in this world right now. The wonderful one, the artist, the happy, the great hero, Lou. And we just, in those letters, LOU, ask yourselves to release the tension and stress and worries. That is just an illusion. They must be released because they're not rational. They must be released because the context of a hologram is you have the whole Quit just looking at a little piece of it. That is the context of why everything has already happened, right? Why has every possibility been played out already? Because you have the whole universe, all the information of all the books in universe, everything, all the data of everything. Why? Because you've been here a long fucking time, so fucking long that we just say eternal. And no one we know has ever found a beginning to their soul, to their soul, to their luas, to their essence, as we say. What, uh, what do we have faith in? That nothing under the sun, not even a thing that we can't describe, can destroy our souls. We have Lu protecting us. And we also speak balance and regulation to your body for it to fall in time with the seasons so that it can rhythmically detox itself and intuitively pull in the minerals from the earth. So what do we call upon to magically heal your body? The earth, the water, the fire, the air, and the vril. Even the lost energy of the holographic eternal orgasm. May it strike you like a lightning bolt and give you plenty hours and years of pleasure that will truly heal you. Heal you. Heal you from head to toe. Heal you. Heal you from the moment of your birth. Scariest, one of the scariest, maybe not the, but one of definitely the scariest moments of your life. You need to heal from that trauma, right? You heal from the trauma of like, uh-oh, I might suffer and die. Uh-oh, I might starve. People like, babies aren't conscious. Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about. Babies are more conscious than you are, idiot. We are making all kinds of assumptions. The baby's like, hey, you don't feed me, I'm going to get a fucking die. I have no way to get my own food or water. I'm going to fucking die. And I remember, our first baby with my wife, like the first couple of days, her breastfeeding, I was like, what about giving her water? Are we supposed to give her water? You'll die with water. A little baby would die without water. And my wife's like, man, dude, I've been going to these classes, talking to my doctor. She's like, no, you don't want to dilute the mother's milk and their thirst. You want them to thirst for the mother's milk so they get nutrition constantly because they're growing. She's like, she told me if unless you don't have breast milk and you don't want to give her formula at all, like, then give her some water. But as long as she's really breastfeeding, there's no need to give her water. Well, like she is like every once in a while just to clean her mouth, have a bottle of water to clean her mouth, and give her a drink of water, but not just sucking on a bottle of water. And like she said, most babies won't anyway. They'll be like, "What the hell is that?" That trip, that's how much one you were with your mother before you came out, and how much one you want to be with your mother when you come out. You're like, just give me that titty. I don't even need any water. Just me and you. Just me and you, Mom. Take care of me, Mom. I'm scared, Mom. People don't understand how scared babies are. You see them mostly laughing and playing and stuff because they're getting secure, they're getting confident that these people love me, they're not going to let me. But you can never, uh, you can't ignore these true experiences of you were an individuated soul before you were born, and that's why you were scared because you're like, I don't know for sure. You were in your mother's womb, so sure. We're one, we're one, we're one. And that is like Maria said, this is where we learn how to be one with each other. And she's like, instead of you know, your mother giving you breast milk, your mother is becoming one with you in energy, especially the energy that we love the most, the pleasure energy. She's like, I'm your mother, so you don't have to feel ashamed of anything. I'm your mother. I love you no matter what. Like she said, now get over here and give me a kiss because I'm your mother. And we also speak healing to your mental, to your mental body, to your mental thought body. And we summon forth the the truth of what actually happened in the most crucial experiences you ever had. Like I heard a podcaster girl I like say one time that probably the most hurtful thing that ever happened to her was she had a boyfriend in high school for a couple of years or something, and she said he got one mad one day and said something like, I don't care if you leave me. The guys on the football team make fun of you and call you horse face. She was like 10 years after that, it still bothered me. And I don't blame her because she's sensitive. It's real energy. It's real hateful, hurtful, envious. And this girl's beautiful, of course. Of course, horses are beautiful. Totally beautiful. Absolutely, one of the most beautiful animals ever, if not the. And Maria says, don't forget my wonderful, beautiful horse I love so much, Georgia. And George, but Georgia mostly because she came with us. She traveled all over with us. She's the greatest horse ever, sweetest animal ever. She said me, Siggy, and like 3 cats would ride on her for miles. And we would feed her, we'd give her breaks, but we would ask her, and she would say, no, I want all of you on me. I want to be the only horse that takes you. Yeah, people don't know. Maria grew up with horses, and horse, like she said, we rode horse and buggy to church a couple miles from my house. The church that pissed me off, and the church that I would say to my mother, we know this is a lie. Why the fuck do we go? And like she said, the whole thing of, well, there is some wisdom there. Like she said, I'm sorry. The 10-year-old me wanted to destroy that, and I still can't shake it. No, no, we don't have to get our truth from pedophiles. We can access it ourselves. We got the whole entire universe. I wrote a poem, like Maria said, you should find it and read it, but I can tell you the meaning. And I didn't know what I was saying. This is when I was a Christian. I said this exact thing. It's like, you know, William Blake saying, like, you can see the whole world in a grain of sand. I wrote a poem called You Are the Universe. And saying, like, the power of creativity, the power of imagination is exactly what the universe is. So you are that. But I was saying even deeper in like a hypothetical way, not about a specific person. Look, even Maria was in my consciousness to say this, intuitively. But I was like, you are the whole universe because you mean everything to me. You're the sun, the moon, the planets, the stars. You're so wonderful. You're so beautiful inside and out. You are the universe in a practical way. Like, in other words, I don't need even nature when I have your energy. Like Maria said, that's becoming one. That's that's prophesying becoming one. And also a biggest vibrational ohm, which we really believe is Maria Orsic, Mo. I seen Siggy call her Mo. I think that's what she called her the most when I seen her. She'd be like Mo, or she'd be like Ree, or she'd be like Ree. She did call her Ree, definitely. Like Maria says, she always calls me Ree, and she calls me Mo a lot. And we all call her Ma, Ma, Ria. And we all call her Mary. And like she said, I am Mary C. Mercy. Mary sees. Mary sees your suffering. I like what Maria said the other night. She said, like, let's dance and have fun because all day we're going to cry with people and hold people who have suffered so much that we get caught up in the emotion of trying to explain to them it wasn't real. And yet we end up crying with them because they feel it. And the great and awesome African phrase, Jamaican reggae phrase, who feels it, knows it. He feels it, knows it. It's like when you have a bad dream and you wake up, you're like, I felt it, I know it. It's, you know, it's exactly the same. You don't know you're dreaming, so what you gonna say? Okay, and let's end on that. I said I was gonna go back to the story about my friend and the dream. So I told a dream about seeing Yahweh, Satan, God Satan, Yahweh Satan on the throne in this mega church when I was a Christian. Maria's like, this is very important. You always leave this point out. So my friend, he had written a book about Bible prophecy called The Day of the Lord is at Hand. His name's Benjamin Baruch. I'm sure the book's still available. He's a great dude, but, Christianity's not true. Big problem. I don't know if he's still a Christian. Maybe he's not. But he plays an important part because in my ritual, all of a sudden I've seen this. Look at this chain of events. Because of Maria, everything's happening because of Maria. I'm telling you for real. Because of Maria, I had that dream the night before coming to his house about the airplane crashing. Maria Orsic, the stewardess, snatched me out of the airplane. We went into the heavens, and I heard Yahweh pronounce judgment on my family, my city, my state, my country. All in detail, in very detail, showing me a screen of actual events. Right? And so, maybe like a month later, I have that dream that I just told recently about Yahweh on the throne in the mega church, and I confronted him, and he defeated me in a mind struggle where all I said was, I rebuke you in Jesus' name. And Listen, it didn't work. And I was a true believer, nigga. Matter of fact, it was the very clue that I was deceived. It's such a it's such an obvious deception. It makes everyone smile when you say it. It's like, oh my God, this is one of these cult member fuckers. I was a cult member fucker twice. Twice. But it's okay because it was planned by me. And so, like I said, this was like a month or so after the first dream. And I'm telling my friend a dream. He goes, hey, dude, check this out. I'm going on one of the largest uh, Christian radio prophecy programs tomorrow. They said they have 1 million listeners. And he's like, I am going to totally demand. He's like, I've already asked the guy, it's going to happen. He's like, I'm going to demand that you come on as my guest and tell people that dream about Yahweh on the throne of the Christian church. I told it exactly like I told you to 1 million people on Christian radio that God is Satan and is ruling the Christian church in the most obvious way, stealing your fucking money. That Jesus Christ that you're worshiping is Marilyn Manson, a disgusting, just selfish, self-indulgent, dark, evil rock star. That's your Jesus, nigga. And if you try to remake him into something else, that's your own desperation to preserve your fucking money and your lifestyle. And you should be ashamed of yourself. You really should. Yeah, so who opened that door? And when I told the whole dream, I mean, they gave me a full segment. It was like the guy was like, "Tell your dream, brother." And let me tell you, he was shocked. He didn't know whether to agree with me and Bill. My friend's name was Bill Benjamin. He calls himself Bill. Uh, he was like, "Wow, wow, I don't know what to say to that." He's like, "What's your interpretation? What do you mean that Satan is actually being worshipped in the Christian church?" I say, "Yeah." I said, "What I mean is like a slave master that's taking your money, and they're sitting there saying he's God." He's like, "So you mean the pastors?" And I was like, No, no, it wasn't the pastor. It was the actual God that was being worshipped. See, I was a Christian, so I was just saying, hey, it's a false Jesus because it's all about money. I didn't even realize what really happened. And the guy talked to me for like a couple minutes off the air and was like, that's very interesting. I could tell he was shaken by the whole thing. There was something about my story that shook his fucking ass and kind of put him on his heels. I told Bill I really couldn't tell if he thought it, because in our lingo we were saying from the Holy Spirit. I was like, I don't know if he received that from the Holy Spirit or thinks that it was just a dream that I had. That's how we were talking. And now I know the truth about the God of this world and what happens when you die, how it's a test. And whatever you believe the imagination of the God of this world can accommodate you. If you want Jesus, he'll give you a fake Jesus, but you know what? You're gonna come, right. He's gonna prove his point. Because you want something fake, because you want something false, you're gonna end up repeating your life over and over and over and over and over and over and over, till a point where you get so bored you start fucking committing suicide and actually fucking bumming hard. Like something's fucked up. That's where I came to. That's where I came to as a Ross. I was like, you know what? vibrationally, I'm not gonna mask it anymore. Something's fucked up in me. Not my essence, but what I believe. Like there's some, of course that was Rastafari, it's not God. And then I went from that to, something's fucked up. Yeah, Jesus ain't God. This is a fucking unfairy tale. This is an unfairy tale. This is a nightmarish horror story. Right? And we definitely, in the name of the real mother, juxtapose that whole vibration with the true real from our heart. We thank you, our sister, for giving us good energy, leaving comments, and we love you. May we, because we're frequency match, vibrational matches, we can only multiply and add to each other. May we truly, brothers and sisters, come together as one.
Hail, my sister, feel the breeze of time, floating deep in dreams where dimensions rhyme. Your essence sparkles like the stars above. In every heartbeat I can feel your love. Your spirit guides my way, with power from the earth to sway. Your essence makes us free in every song we sing. With the Ozark room, let the healing begin. In a dance of light, where spirits flutter by, we lift our hearts together like eagles in the sky. Supernatural journeys through the cosmic night, channeling the strength, illuminating light. New whispered tales of our bonds, so divine. 20 years in a dream, forever intertwined. Warriors with wisdom deep and true. Your essence makes us free in every song we sing. With the Ozark room, let the healing begin. In a dance of light, where spirits flutter by, we lift our hearts together like eagles in the sky. So bless this moment, let the rhythms flow. Dear sister, let your essence glow.